anger, all this energy, all this passion for a bill that they consider to be racist? Have they read it? Have they seen the Yale study that shows that despite the so-called voter suppression measures, hasn't affected the black vote at all? If anything, it might have encouraged blacks to vote even more, as if to say, oh, really? You're trying to suppress my vote? I'll show you. No evidence whatsoever that these alleged voter suppression measures are in fact suppressing the black vote. None. Moreover, as I've said, poll after poll after poll over the years has shown that blacks support photo voter ID almost to the same degree as whites do. But here's what they're doing. They're characterizing the issue, as they always do, as an attack against black people. That way, blacks remain eternally angry. The Democrats continue their image as the party of pro-social justice, and they characterize the Republican Party as a party that wants to attack black people. Explain, if the Republican Party is a party that wants to attack black people, why it is that this black man, Representative Byron Donalds of Florida, said this about the Georgia bill.
The Democrats are race baiting. They are wrong. Look, I've reviewed the Georgia...
Must be an Uncle Tom.
Law myself. What Georgia's doing is the absolute right thing. I know the president's running around trying to tell people that you can't give somebody a cup of water, but that's not what Georgia law says. What Georgia law says is that you can't give people something of value when they're in lines getting ready to vote, because, you know, we don't want to buy off votes in America. That's like a sound concept. That's what we should be doing. The other thing that's happening in these voting lines, people are getting these voter cards when they're also getting something of value in the lines. And so the Georgia legislature is right to get rid of that provision in Georgia law and make sure that they can't do those things. That's simple stuff, John. This is not what they're trying to say. They're trying to race bait because they know they got the argument wrong and they don't have a leg to stand on, so they got to use race.
Here is the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp.
I hope you won't blame our office for playing into the narrative that the mainstream media is doing, because a lot of political activists, one of them my former opponent, and when the President of the United States says something, you know, a lot of people pay attention. But what Joe Biden needs to do is look at the side-by-side of Georgia and Delaware. You know, he's focused on trying to get Major League Baseball to pull the game out of Georgia, which is ridiculous. If you look at these comparisons, the state of Delaware has no in-person early voting. We have 17 days. In Georgia, you don't have to have an excuse to get an absentee ballot by mail. In Delaware, you do. We have drop boxes. Delaware does not.
Here is what the bill that supposedly is trying to suppress the black vote actually says, quote, "No person shall solicit votes or distribute or display any campaign material, nor shall any person give, offer to give, or participate in the giving of any money or gifts, including, but not limited to, food and drink to a voter. This code section shall not be construed to prohibit a poll officer from making available water service from an unintended receptacle to a voter waiting in line to vote. Voters can still bring bottled water." According to the article in the National Review, voters can still bring bottled water or other food or beverages with them to stand in line to vote, as people often do when waiting, say, at Disney World, or to buy concert tickets, or any other public place where people stand in long lines. Voters can still also, if they like, order food. The bill doesn't stop the Domino's pizza guy or the local hot dog cart or taco truck from doing business. And if you feel impelled to donate food and drink to voters, you can still do that too. You just have to give it to poll workers so that they can put it out for general use. But what did Joe Biden say?
I think today's professional athletes are acting incredibly responsibly. I would strongly support them doing that. People look to them. They're leaders. Look at what's happened with the NBA as well. Look at what's happened across the board. The very people who are victimized the most are the people who are the leaders in these various sports. And it's just not right. This is Jim Crow on steroids, what they're doing in Georgia and 40 other states. What it's all about. Imagine passing a law saying you cannot provide water.
Quote, the president's claim that you cannot provide water for people about to vote is just false. What you cannot do under the new Georgia law is deploy people in the NRA shirts or mega hats to hand out free Koch brothers financed Federal Society branded pizza to voters. In other words, the entire controversy is not about people dropping dead of hunger or thirst in long lines at all. It's about electioneering around the polling place by people looking to advertise that they represent a cause and to try to influence voters by giving them free stuff. Across the country today, we always have lots of laws against this sort of thing. There's nothing wrong with Georgia trying to limit it, end of quote. It's a lie. You're being manipulated, condescended. They think you're children.